Well, hello and welcome to episode number 4 of the Mike Koenigs Show. My name is Mike Koenigs, and this program is for entrepreneurs who want to earn more, live more, and give more, and we're your business think tank. That's the way to think of us. So this show is sponsored by Bulletproof Coffee, Cuisinart, Euphoric Tequila and Vodka, and if you're watching or listening to us, you can chat live, or you can send an email with your questions to mikekoenigshow@gmail.com anytime. And also make sure you subscribe to the podcast below this video, or just head on over to www.mrbz.com/podcast. Our first guest today is Pat Flynn. He's CEO of Smart Passive Income, and he's an entrepreneur who's been running a podcast for 6 years, earning over 6 figures a month transparently, and he just came out with a new book that sold 14,000 copies in a week. And we're going to talk about how he did it. Now, our next guest is Mandossian, a guy I met 14 years ago at my very first marketing conference, who is also one of the smartest marketers in the business. He's brilliant. I love the way he thinks. We also have Mike's Gadget giveaway, health amplifiers with JJ Virgin, productivity amplifiers, blind, dumb, and deaf taste tests, and a lot more. Now, this episode is about your trigger moment, and that's a defining moment when you're about to give up, but something happened that turned around for you. And if you think about it, if you've had that moment before, the question to ask yourself is, how do you recreate or create that moment again? Now, I actually remember my very first trigger moment. It was when I had my original agency. It was called Digital Cafe in Minneapolis. I started that company. We were known as one of the first interactive marketing agencies in the world. We started it in 1989. I sold it about 10 years later to a publicly traded advertising agency that it literally changed my life. However, along the way, we struggled like crazy. My partner, Dean Hires, and I were up and down. Our clients weren't paying us. We didn't know how to run a business. We're just two creative guys who really wanted to make movies, and I had a background in writing video games. Well, here's what happened. Our defining moment was we were pitching and working with an ad agency, and they saw some of the stuff we were doing. At the time, we were programming CD-ROM games, and they said they had pitched a deal with Chex, the cereal, basically cereal, and they had gotten America Online to sponsor putting something inside the box, and they wanted to know if we'd contract and write a video game for them. Well, of course, we said yes, having absolutely no idea how we were going to possibly pull this off. But what we ended up doing is creating a game called Chex Quest. And what wound up happening is that game ended up getting shipped in 6 million boxes of cereal, sponsored by America Online, and it made us the golden boys of the marketing industry. In fact, we started something that became a term called sponsored entertainment. So this is back in the days when people weren't thinking this way. Well, again, leading up to that, we were flat broke. In fact, I had gone through a horrible situation where we were paying our employees with credit card checks. Basically, we were kiting checks. We didn't know you couldn't do it back then, but we were doing it anyway. And the point is, that moment changed everything, and it started accelerating our visibility. Pretty soon, every agency wanted to work with us. We're getting calls from all over the place. We got deals in Hollywood. And look, we were just two kids from Minnesota who grew up in kind of a rural area who didn't know our heads from our rear ends. But that was our defining moment. So I know I'm going to ask my counterpart, co-host,
yes,
Mr. Ed Rush.
Man.
Ed, what was your defining moment?
First of all, it's a really inspiring story. I mean, most people do have that moment where you're about to quit, and all of a sudden it totally changes. And I heard
we were just like, all we wanted to do was make video games or movies, and we were our business was basically a hobby business to help us make money so we could do what we wanted to do.
I heard those Chex cereal boxes are pretty hard to come by these
days.
Yeah.
Well, the truth is, here's what happened. Right before we went on, I got into a big tizzy fit.
Yeah.
For 20 years, I've been carrying around these stinking boxes as props, and we just went through. We rebuilt our studio, and I had them on a shelf since we moved here, and they're gone. And I have a funny feeling someone said, "Oh, these are junk," and threw them away. That's what I fear. And they're like the only two.
We're just playing around now.
I'm a little bit miffed.
That joke.
Okay.
Now you do. So my defining moment, or I'd say my trigger moment, if you will, was my very first online program, just after I got out of the Marine Corps, was a course on how to become a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
And I put this book out, and I started making sales at $24. And I was probably making a few $100s a month, like barely anything. And I had an email one day that somebody had emailed me and said, hey, don't worry about what those guys are saying about you. And I went,
What guys?
what guys are saying about me? And I found
Hey,
out
there's
went
some
online,
hate going on.
and there was a forum of pilots who were making fun of me because I was offering a program for sale to people who wanted to be pilots. It was at the same time that I got a phone call from a Delta pilot who said something along the lines of, I hope you're not leading too many people astray, and I'm ashamed of what you've done. And at that point, I wasn't making enough money for it to be something that I couldn't
Ruining
just
your
drop.
reputation that
And
didn't even
so-
exist at the time. Yes.
And so I looked, and I spent some time, that hurt, by the way.
Yeah.
I took some time and I read through the letters and stories of the people that had replied to me and said, hey, I took your advice, and here's what I did. I took your advice, here's what I did. People who'd gone on and started getting into the service. And it was at that moment I decided that I was going to cut myself off from the haters, complainers, whiners, and malcontents, and I was going to go forth. And that business went from a few $100s a month to hundreds of thousands of dollars, or a little over $100,000 in a year very quickly after that. It was just that mindset that said, look, the lower 10% don't matter. It's the people that you're influencing and helping that matter. And that made all the difference in the world for me.
It does. And it just goes to show how many people's dreams are ditched
Yeah,
either early
that's right.
on or later on because they let someone projecting their own fears
That's exactly right.
on top of you, and you let losers matter.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that's the thing is it's like, don't pay attention. You know, the song goes, the haters are going to hate.
Yeah.
It's just because they're going to hate on someone and something because
Yeah.
deep inside they're jealous and envious, and that's a very low frequency emotion.
Yeah, and so the question really is, what's your trigger
Yeah.
moment? Are you in a position where you're waiting for that first moment, or have you had one of those or two of those before and you want another one?
Right.
It's their
And go ahead and type it into chat. It would
great
be
to see
very
that, yeah.
interesting to see what that experience is or was for you, because this is invaluable, and it also lets you get connected. When's the time when you either ditched your dreams but you almost did, and you're glad you didn't?
Yeah, didn't ditch them, right?
Yeah,
That's-
totally.
so-
You didn't ditch them. Yep.
So our guests tonight
Yes.
are specifically chosen because of their trigger moment.
And Pat's got a great backstory. He's unbelievably brilliant. And of course, Alex,
Yeah.
I've watched him go through multiple reinventions.
Absolutely.
And he and I, he's been in the business, the online marketing business, at least in the direct response,
Yeah.
longer than I have. Although I actually started,
Wow.
my first time was in 1981. I got some of my
Man.
I got online back then. And I started getting my first jobs online back in Digital Cafe days, posting on Prodigy, America Online, and CompuServe,
Man.
posting example screensavers. And that's how I got calls from Sony and, let's see, and 20th Century Fox. But
There's
but
so
you know,
many
it's back
jokes,
then.
you
Yeah,
know,
anyway,
like
we could go all over
You were
the place.
marketing to Fred and Wilma Flintstone.
There we go, back in the good old
So,
days.
but yeah, we've got Pat Flynn, who is somewhat new to the game, but
Yeah.
incredibly successful. Alex Mandossian, who's been doing this for a long time and has a great story to
He
tell. So
is awesome, so
Ready to get
smart.
started.
All right, well, why don't we begin with our first guest, Mr. Pat Flynn, who is just one of these incredibly smart guys. And actually, here's what's great. Just met him in person recently, even though I've followed him for years. Such a smart guy. So you ready for
I'm
that?
excited for this.
All
Definitely.
right.
Yeah.
Well, let's rock and roll and begin with Mr. Pat Flynn. Smart passive income. I know that is music to every entrepreneur's ears. And we have the master of smart passive income. In fact, that's the name of his podcast, Pat Flynn, who's also the author of Will It Fly, here with me today. Nice to have you, sir.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
All right. So you've got this book. We're going to talk more about that a little bit later. But why don't you tell everyone a little bit about who you are, where you're from?
Yeah, so, here in sunny San Diego, this is where I live. I love it.
I'm talking about?
And, I actually used to be an architect. I don't know if you knew that. But I got laid off in 2008, which at the time was the worst thing to ever happen. But now looking back was actually the best thing because it introduced me to this world of online business. Quick story, I turned information that I knew about an exam that I took in the architecture world and turned that into an ebook and a study guide and did really, really well. Changed my life. October 2008, I had generated over $8,000 with a $19.99 ebook.
That's really awesome.
Which was like 3 months of my income as an architect, and then I kind of just went off from there, and I started Smart Passive Income to just share how all this worked because it literally changed my life.
I did not know that. So it was really your way of describing the story and answering the question, how did you do that?
Right, and what I wish I had done differently, and I started building new businesses publicly on the site and sharing that, and it's all about the wins and the failures. I call myself the crash test dummy of online business, and like every good crash test dummy does, I bang, hit the wall, and then I report back for everybody's safety. So
right. Well, that's a huge part of what you do is you're very transparent. Right now, you're cycling around a little over $100,000 per month, and you show all of your income and revenue on your website. And by the way, you can check out Pat's site at www.mrbz.com/Pat. That'll send you over to his website, so it's an easy link to remember. But I know, you show a lot of detail. You've always been transparent. Why is that?
Because I feel like if people are going to invest their time in me, they need to know all the details, everything that's going on. It's similar to like how, if you're going to invest in a company, you want to know how the company's been doing over the last several months or years. And if people are going to invest their time in me, I want to show them how I've been doing too. So they can make a decision to follow me or not based off of real stuff, not just hype or exaggeration or anything like that. Now, when people see my income reports, the first thing they think is, who's this cocky guy?
Yeah.
Like, why would he do that? But then you read the lessons that are involved and look at how much money I spent to make all that happen. Then it becomes real, and for a lot of people, also realistic.
Right, and a necessary trust builder.
Yes.
So you've been through some ups and downs. Has there ever been a time when you thought about completely quitting and getting out of this after, you've been doing this 6 years, after all? Have you ever reached a point where you just said, I'm done?
Yeah, so 2010, I started my podcast. Everything was great. You go through that honeymoon period where it's exciting and you're happy to do all the work. But then a year later, I felt like doing the podcast was a chore. And when things feel like a chore, you don't want to do them anymore. You make excuses. And every time I hit that publish button and a new episode went out, I just dreaded having to do it all over again. And I was really close to giving up. But then I got this email from this guy. His name is Michał, spelled M-I-C-H-A-L, so I actually called him Michael for a year until I got to know him. But he's from Poland. He was telling me this story. The email was super long. And I normally don't read super long emails, but this one said, Pat, you changed my life. Here's how. So of course, I'm intrigued, so I read on. And he's telling me about how he got in a terrible snowboarding accident. He broke both his legs. He actually showed me the x-rays. And he's telling me that when he was in the worst state of depression he's ever been in, he discovered podcasts and randomly stumbled on mine. And he heard a show of mine where I talked about how you should always create these super, almost unrealistic goals for yourself, like almost impossible. And he said at that time, a year and a half from then, he was going to run a full marathon with 2 broken legs. He said, I'm going to run a marathon. And he said every day he'd listen to Smart Passive Income podcast, and I was his trainer. So I'm reading on, and I get to the end of the email, and there's this amazing picture of him crossing the finish line at the Warsaw 26.2 mile marathon, and he's holding up a sign. And it's in Polish, so I don't know what it is immediately, but he translates it for me, and it says, thank you to his wife, thank you to his kids, thank you God, thank you Pat Flynn. My name was on there, and at this time I'm like reading the email, I'm like my mascara is running down, I'm just bawling, right, like drips of black on my keyboard and everything. I was a hot mess.
Yep.
But I was bawling because for 2 reasons. One, I didn't know I was having such an impact on this person's life. Like, I helped this person get through some tough times. But the other reason why I was bawling was because I almost gave up. And I was thinking about all the other people out there who didn't email me or who won't email me, but who still can benefit from my voice and my message out there. And so it was at that point I committed, I doubled down, tripled down on the podcast. And I've been doing more podcasting, other shows, and now that people know this story, they're telling me when I've been able to help them even more now, which is really cool.
It's great. So one of the things that we talked about off camera is you've been affiliate marketing, and that's the majority of your income and revenue. But now you've shifted gears. You've written this book, which sold 14,000 copies in 1 week, which is freaking incredible. The next thing is, what's this book about, and why did you write it, and who's it for?
So in addition to my regular podcast, which comes out 1 day a week, I have another show called Ask Pat. And it's cool because I get to answer a voicemail question from an audience member 5 days a week. Much shorter show. But a cool byproduct of that is I get questions from my audience telling me exactly what they're struggling with. And by far the #1 question that people have who call me is, how do I know if this thing I'm working on is going to work? they're transitioning from a 9-to-5 lifestyle where they're used to working for X hours and getting paid for those X hours. As an entrepreneur, that's not how it works. You invest time up front, and for those who are just starting out, it's hard to know whether or not that thing's going to work. So this is a book about validation, business idea validation, so you know up front whether or not you're going to get a paying customer.
It's brilliant. It's really brilliant. And by the way, you can check it out. You can go to mrbz.com/fly. That's a link to go and directly get the book. And one of the things that you also offer is a course when people buy the book that is totally free. Okay, talk about that very briefly.
Yeah, you might be like, what? Like, why would you do all that work? Well,
Right.
the course is my play for getting email addresses from the readers.
Yep.
And when you sell a book, it's very difficult often to get to know who those readers actually are. I mean, Amazon, for example, doesn't give you that information, which is kind of unfortunate. That would be awesome. But anyway, your job as an author is to get those email addresses so you can further that relationship and potentially sell them things down the road. So I decided, well, I don't want to do the typical, just bonus whatever, or just download the audio file. I need something high value. And then I actually got inspiration from one of my favorite TV shows, Walking Dead. And I don't know if you watch the show.
Yep, all the episodes, all the seasons. My wife and I are hooked, and she hates horror, by the way, and she just
She
totally
loves it,
got
right?
sucked in.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
awesome.
brilliant.
We should watch together.
Oh, yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
awesome. But we love it too. We go to the conventions. Anyway, at the beginning of every show, before the show starts, they go to the voiceover guy goes, go to walkingdeadstorysync.com. You can get your bonus material, behind the scenes, whatever. It enhances our experience watching the show, which we already love. So of course we want even more information about it. And I figured maybe I can do something similar with the people who read this book. I can give them more supplemental behind the scenes background bonus information.
Yeah.
So the course, which is broken down chapter by chapter, just like the book, it's kind of a read-along. It's not a standalone, but people who get it are saying amazing things about it. So here's what you get. If, for example, in the book I say, oh, do this in Google Docs, I show you how to do that in a video in the companion course. All the links, this is the big one for me. I hate reading books where they just share link after link after link, and then you have to write them down, or they don't, on Kindle, they don't open up properly or whatever. All the links for each of the chapters are conveniently there.
Yep.
Plus bonus worksheets, additional interviews, all those sorts of things. It's converting 20 to 25% of those 14,000.
Unbelievable.
It's huge. Plus, they're coming to me saying, I can't believe you did this companion course.
Yeah.
So when I come out with future courses on this same platform,
Your conversion rates are going to be
gonna
off
be huge.
the charts. It's brilliant. So, well, here's what we want to do. And by the way, the system you're using that you put the course in is called?
it's called Teachable, teachable.com.
Definitely worth checking out. So here's what I want to do for you. First of all, check out Pat's book, Will It Fly, at mrbz.com/fly. The other thing, is it okay with you if we do a second video interview that we'll put in the podcast and give it away? So you have to subscribe to the podcast. It's mrbz.com/podcast, and deconstruct exactly how you've pushed your book to a bestseller status.
Let's do it.
All right, rock and roll. So check out his book. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, and you'll get the in-depth interview that Pat and I are going to do for you as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you inside that podcast.
I'm going to show you 7 of my never, ever, ever eat foods. But don't worry, I'm going to also give you some simple swaps so you won't even miss them. I'm going to start right in with soy because there is no joy in soy. Why not? Because it lowers thyroid function. If you're a man, it's going to give you man boobs. And they found in a little study of men, Japanese men in Hawaii, that those who had regular soy consumption had smaller brains. There's some things you just don't want smaller, right? So instead of that soy milk, we can have our friend the coconut milk, and as we know, coconut helps us burn fat too. Now, a lot of you who are not having the soy milk might be having regular cow's milk. You know what I like to call cow's milk? This is white liquid sugar. 12 grams of sugar in a glass of cow's milk, and if you're drinking it to have better bones, you have been misled because it's acidic and it can actually leach the calcium from your bones. Again, now I'm going to go over to almond milk because almonds have far more calcium, plus they are not going to have the issues with the food intolerance that the dairy can have. Okay, those were my warm up. Here's my big one. My big one is, how could you call a product like this skinny? What do they feed cows and pigs to fatten them up? Yep, that's right, corn. Yet we have something called Skinny Pop. And talk about a trigger food. Who could eat just 1 cup of this? Of course, it says 39 calories per cup, but how many calories are in the bag? Because I'm betting that's where you'd go. Now, if you're having a tortilla instead of bread to have a little bit of a wrap, and maybe you've gone low carb, this is where I have to whip out my glasses because you always have to read the fine print. So I have these tortillas here that say whole wheat, and they say carb balance, 4 grams of net carbs. But what they don't tell you here is that they've got loads of gluten in here. They've got modified wheat starch, whole wheat flour, vital wheat gluten, along with vegetable shortening. And gluten creates a whole host of problems, one of them being creating even more food intolerance. And just like dairy and just like gluten and just like sugar, these all have an opiate-like effect on your brain. So what do you eat when you have one of these? What do you want? More of them. So these are a big challenge, and to top off the whole problem with these, they also have sucralose in them. So not only do you have a big gluten hit, you also have artificial sweeteners in here. More on that in a little bit. So what could you do to replace this? Well, the easiest way to get rid of that is just get yourself a good gluten-free tortilla, like a rice tortilla, and you're in business. All right, what about the sweeteners? Because I get asked about this all the time. And you know, one of the biggest dupes out there, and I hate seeing people get duped by misinformation, is that agave is a health food. This is the most damaging sugar of them all, agave. And this one here says low glycemic sweetener, so you think that it's okay. Well, the deal with agave is it doesn't raise blood sugar, which makes it sound great, but it doesn't raise blood sugar because it can't be metabolized anywhere but the liver. So when you eat this stuff, it goes straight to your liver where it tells your body to make fat. And because it didn't raise blood sugar, you're still hungry. Get it? You're making fat and you're still hungry. So if you need a healthy sweetener, I'm going to throw out my virgin sprinkles. And these are erythritol, and they're stevia, and they're amazing. They also have some glycine, which helps balance blood sugar. Now, the final thing here. I've got to do a rant on some beverages because we always talk about not drinking your sugar. So then people think, I'll have just a diet soda. So what's the issue with diet soda? Why are they so bad? It's so interesting now that we know that people who drink a diet soda a day as opposed to a regular soda have a higher waist circumference. Just one diet soda a day increases your risk of diabetes as much as 33%. But here's what happens when you drink a diet soda. When you eat sweet, what do you want? More sweet. When you drink a diet soda, you create a phenomenon called calorie dysregulation, where you can no longer correlate the degree of sweetness with what you're eating, and it will make you tend to overeat as well. Plus, just one soda a day, just a little bit of artificial sweeteners, can actually change the bacteria in your gut microbiome, so they can't handle sugar well. So you'll have higher fasting blood sugar, higher insulin, and again, that whole message is to store fat, not burn it. Remember, your body isn't a bank account. This is not a calories in, calories out story. It's a chemistry lab. And what the diet sodas and the artificial sweeteners are telling your body to do is store fat, what we never want to do. And finally, if you've been drinking more green drinks in an effort to be healthier and detoxify, then I've got to really pull the trigger on this one. Because this one, and I've just got to read some of the claims on this label because they should be ashamed of this. It says boosted green machine. Looks weird, tastes amazing. Well, the reason it tastes amazing is because this blend is loaded with sugar. Apple juice, mango puree, pineapple juice, banana puree, kiwi puree, all of those before we ever got into any of the greens. This isn't a green machine. This is a sweet juice, fruit juice machine. And here's the shocker. In this bottle here, now this is 4 servings, so I will be candid about that. But in 1 8 fluid ounce serving, this has 28 grams of sugar. Do you realize that's more sugar than a soda has in it? And the problem is, you may be drinking this every day in an effort to be healthy. Not so much. But what are some easy swaps out for that? Well, sparkling water is great. And if you need a little bit of something, try some lime or some lemon. And of course, I'm always going to go back to green tea. Green tea is amazing because it can help you burn fat. It's got theanine. It's good for your adrenals. Remember, look for foods that not only taste good, they're good for you too.
One of the reasons why I created the show in the first place so I could spend more time with people I love, I respect, admire, and one of those people is with me right now, Mr. Alex Mandossian.
Mike.
You, sir. It's a pleasure, and thanks for coming to the studio.
Thank you. I hope my mother's watching.
All right. I hope she is too.
Yes.
So I've got a few things that I'm going to share about you, but I want you to tell a little bit about you for our viewing audience and listening audience first.
I'm the son of George and Carol Mandossian. I was born in Hollywood, California. I'm on the tail end of the baby boom. And I'm known as an electronic marketer. In the old days, that was pre-internet, and it's called BG, before Google. And these days, I teach people how to get more exposure by broadcasting their brilliance.
Very good, very good. And that's one of your greatest skills, is just listening to lots and lots of stuff and summarizing it, boiling it down, and canning it in catchy ways.
Teaching people doing what you do.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I have one interesting story, and I don't know if I've shared this part of it, but I was thinking about it right before we began camera.
Okay.
I met you 14 years ago at an Armin Morin event. So this is probably the first guy doing online marketing events, or one of them, not the very first. But
Right, one of my
close.
partners, yeah.
Yes, and that event became the inspiration for what became my first two products, and one of them evolved into Traffic Geyser, which really got me into this whole online marketing world. So you're one of the old guys in this business.
Pretty much.
Without being too old, but you know, this is an interesting industry and business, and you're one of the guys who's stuck around, stayed around, and continued to evolve and change and adopt and reinvent yourself and amplify yourself as well. And I know that's a big part of what we're going to talk about today.
Being more of who you are and not being afraid to be that person.
Okay, so you've got something that we talked about, like some ways you could add some massive value in a short period of time. So
Right.
we're going to go through something that you actually have in your new book called Alex-isms.
Right.
All right. So let's just go through and do some
Sure.
rapid fire. So tell us what Alex-isms are, first of all.
Okay, well these
and why
are
they're meaningful.
these are useful life lessons from a recovering serial entrepreneur. I was all over the place until I got focused. Now, everyone has isms. You could have Mike-isms, you can have John-isms, you can have Sandra-isms. This book took me 25 years to curate, to gather. It took me about 25 hours to write. You teach how to write a book in a day. And you can read it in 25 minutes. An extended stay in a restroom, you can read the whole book. So there are little isms, if you will, like sloppy success is better than perfect mediocrity. So the logo of this show, you had multiple iterations. You didn't care what version 1 looked like. Another Alex-ism, version 1 is better than version none. So people procrastinate, they are perfectionists, they don't get started, and then they die a best-kept secret, which means no legacy. So those are what Alex-isms are. They're like little sayings that have a lot of meaning, like a quotation.
Very nice. And again, as you were thinking and talking about, or while you were describing these, you know, you said 25,000 hours.
25 years,
25 years.
25 hours,
Yep.
and 25 minutes to read.
There you go. And the reverse is true, because these are the kinds of things, it's sort of like, you know, anyone who reads the Bible knows that every single phrase and every passage means something different to you every time that you read it. And as
Right.
you age, you know, it's like my son just got bar mitzvahed, and every letter in the Hebrew language has a story, for example. You know, it's
Exactly.
like, so I really relate to that. And again, it's one of the reasons why I enjoy spending time with you. I always feel like my life has grown and expanded. So let's do some more.
Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So if you're going to get cut, like a friend of mine, a mentor, Keith, says, get cut with a butcher knife, heal quickly. Don't cut yourself with a butter knife and prolong that suffering. Never underestimate, this is a great one for kids, never underestimate the power of denial. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone is in denial one way or another, including you and me.
Yeah.
A spectacular achievement is always preceded by unspectacular planning. People don't like to plan. You have an editorial calendar, right? We teach our students to do the same thing. No planning, no high achievement. This is a favorite one. High intention, low attachment. So your intention can be super high, but if you're attached to the results are none of your business. Just focus on the next action and you will get the success. Bill Gates knew that, Steve Jobs knew that, Oprah Winfrey knows that, and so on and so forth. Now, this is my favorite one. I have high-end clients. They pay me tens of thousands of dollars, let's say $25,000 for a one-day session. First thing I start with is, look, when you're in need, I'm your 911. Like, call me, write me, here's my mobile number. And I've gotten more high-end clients that way because everyone is looking for that 911. What a great way to serve someone.
Great idea.
Like going to heaven without the inconvenience of dying. That's what it means to be on this show. I'm in heaven right now. I'm in my element, and you're allowing me to express these Alex-isms. A leader who knows and doesn't do still doesn't know. That's from an ancient Chinese proverb. And it's true, because how many people have seen, hey, that's my product I thought of, and it's on the shelf, and they didn't take action. That means they still don't know. And my favorite one is, if you are not going to take action in doing your own marketing, I think everyone should be their own marketer and salesperson. That's like giving your newborn baby, your business, to an orphanage. You would never do that. So don't outsource your marketing. Learn it.
Really good. And by the way, you can get this book for free when you visit www.mrbz.com.
Leading down the right path.
Right.
Make
very,
sense?
very, absolutely. Those are rbz.com/Alex. Okay, so that's a great takeaway gift. So I wanted to ask you another question, which is, you and I are very fascinated with the same things, which is teaching people how to get attention and stand out. So what are you most interested and fascinated in and with right now that's capturing and keeping your attention that you think is really, really valuable and important?
Mike, the live casting and the ability to get your message out on video, that is the new legacy style. That's great, and that's what's encapsulating who you are and who you want to become. The deepest regret, the books are important, but imagine seeing a great-great-great-grandmother or grandfather on video, and that's what I want to avoid for myself, for my students, for my family. So getting the message out and broadcasting brilliance, that's what we're after, and that's what I want to really implore upon folks, just so they know how important their message can be.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, getting to be familiar with, comfortable, being on camera, speaking. And you know, one of the best things that's been happening over the past couple of years is the fact that we live in a selfie world now.
Yeah.
Grandmothers take selfies, grandfathers take selfies, so people are at least comfortable with the fact that they can take a video or a picture of themselves. And if you can learn how to do this to communicate a bigger, broader message, to promote and market and sell, the power is unbelievable.
If you don't like your face on camera, do audio.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple.
Face made for radio, as the old saying goes. So that's very, very good. And do you have any big idea or suggestion or takeaway concept that you want to seed our brains, our viewers and listeners with?
2 productivity tips.
Okay.
I love analog because they're a lot more productive. So the countdown timer concept is not new. It's something where you have a defined time frame and you put tension on yourself to complete tasks. I don't like using an iPhone or digital timer where I'm connected and wired to the internet or to a device, because people can contact me. I utilize an hourglass. So I turn it over, it's for 50 minutes, because if my backside can't endure, more time than my brain can't absorb it, so 50 minutes at a time, then I take a break. So that's one, the hourglass. Another one is a little black book of ideas, 1 idea per page. I have stacks of these. The key here is don't write on the line so you feel creative, write diagonal, and make it small, because that way you feel like you're productive, you're filling the entire page.
Very, very good. And I know earlier you had opened this up, and I'm going to just open this up for the camera. And let's see if I find one. So here you have some interesting I's on here: intention, interest, involvement, influence, income, I-5, information highway.
Yeah, well, that just came up in the car. I wrote it down. I didn't get in an accident. I'm very blessed.
Okay. Don't demo knowledge, interest, demo caring, involve.
Yeah, so many of us are demonstrating our know-how, but I think caring is sharing. And so, and sharing is caring. So no one knows how much you care until they know how much you care, right? They don't care about what you have to say. So caring is a competitive advantage in today's economy.
It's brilliant. It's a really good idea, both of them. So
thank you.
Here's what you can do right now. Once you head on over to mrbz.com, check out, or /Alex, and get Alex's book, Alex-isms. You'll have an opportunity to get exposed to this brilliant guy's genius, his knowledge, and also the fact that he thinks differently. It's one of the reasons he's so successful, and he's constantly innovating and reinventing himself too. It's something I admire about you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
I hope my mom watches.
All right. Thanks, and go grab that book.
Productivity Amplifier.
Well, Ed, you know what a couple of our guests have in common?
Do they like coffee?
Well, not just that. Pat Flynn is one of them.
Yeah.
Alex, I don't actually know if he's been
Bulletproof.
drinking coffee.
They
Yeah,
drink
he's been drinking
Bulletproof.
Bulletproof too. But here's what's important is across the board, people are drinking Bulletproof coffee, accelerate their productivity. No doubt about that. And what we're going to show you is one of my favorite gadgets, and it's provided by our sponsor, Cuisinart, by the way. Love this thing. This is an awesome espresso machine. So I'm going to make a quick batch of espresso using our bulletproof coffee. But here's how it works. This thing can do either a single or double shot. Got the little tamper doodad here. I can't remember exactly what everything's called.
Yes, the tamper doodad.
So
is actually,
I pre-filled this up so I would spill, but you basically tamp it down like this.
Yep.
Put on a little handle here.
This is
like so.
and this button right here is what I call the Pavlovian response button.
There we go.
So
I gotta. Oh yeah, go
metally
ahead.
thing that goes in there, right? Is that what you're saying? No, I was this button. So over there is our kitchen. Right here is my office.
Yes.
And anytime someone pushes that button, I go.
Oh yes, yes. Oh joy, Ed Rush. So here's what we've got right now. Is I'm going to actually show you how I've been making my espresso, and I have to admit I can't do caffeine. I have anxiety attacks, so I'm doing a little bit of decaf. But I put in a little bit of brain octane oil here. I pour that into my cup. And this is nice fat. It's brain fat. Helps you process better. And anyone who's been drinking Bulletproof knows the story.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Makes you
The
feel
other-
great. Take
yep.
it in moderation.
Here's something else I like. Cacao butter.
Yeah.
Now this, I've been adding instead of butter. Now if you make Bulletproof coffee,
really?
you can make that.
Oh,
Yes,
you're doing
I
that
do.
instead of the butter.
Because I love that little chocolatey taste. So I just take a little chunk of cacao butter, and I put it inside here. I usually do about a half of one of these. So about like this much for a serving. And it gives it great flavor and it melts. So it gives you some added fat, good for your brain. Put the little cup in here, push the button.
Pavlovian dog response.
Do. And oh yes, by the way, you can check this out. I've got an Amazon link set up for you, which is just mrbz.com/espresso. There you can see the nice frothy coffee coming out.
It legitimately tastes really good out of this thing.
It is. It's fantastic. It's like no need to ever go to that one place that rhymes with RX. But I love having that.
The other office backstory is we have a traditional coffee maker, the kind that just drips water, and Mike left a note on the coffee maker, not a note on paper. He actually wrote on the coffee maker.
I took a Sharpie to
I
it.
hate the way this thing smells, so clearly we're going to be making all the rest of our coffee.
It's true. I've got this thing about the way those traditional icky drip machines smell. This thing smells awesome. It makes great espresso. You probably can't see inside here, but it's got this really nice froth. And
We'll install a camera up there for the next.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. But anyway, the oil, yeah, of course I'd have a spoon. This is my quick and dirty way of making some Bulletproof, but I also oftentimes make the traditional Bulletproof where I actually make the espresso, I put it in the blender, add some fat, add the oil or butter, get it moving, and you don't have to eat all morning. It is fantastic. So it tastes
You
great.
may choose to eat.
Doesn't
That's
that smell
what I do.
good?
Yeah. So good.
It's got that
It's good.
nice
It's really good.
chocolatey smell. So check out the Cuisinart. That's what's important here. This is an excellent, excellent espresso machine. Surprisingly affordable. Works great. You can get it at mrbz.com/espresso. What a great way to start or keep your day going.
Those of you who have been with us before, welcome back. And those of you who are new to us, welcome to the family.
I'm going to give you the key to the kingdom right now.
I believe right now, more than ever before, is an opportunity to get in on the ground floor of something really, really cool.
Caliber of speakers that they have at this event, you'd have to go to 5 or 6 different events to hear this many speakers at this level.
The quality, the consistency, the continuity, and the consistent value with every single piece of information that they provide for you, the quality is impeccable.
This is what you're going to do. This is what I want you to do. Because if you do this, this is the promise I made to you initially. This is the promise. No one will be able to look away from you.
We've got 7 steps that make market launch. What I'm trying to do is simply this. I'm trying to share with you real life stories so that you can go, I can totally do this.
I did close the deal on Monday for the multi-million-dollar deal, so
Wow.
I think we're past 6 to 7.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
You guys, thank you.
The presenters are amazing, and they actually send you away with real ways of, developing your business or developing your product.
Being around this, getting into the groove and learning the language, learning the mindset is the first step.
What are some of the things you need to get rid of? Physically, spiritually, emotionally, to make room for you to step into the gifts of who you are and what you have to give.
Really going to see how we think about marketing and creating products. Biggest results, shortest period of time, something significant. Tell me the story. Who is she?
I mean, I had a 40-year-old woman come in. She's a young mom.
It's not about the candle, right?
Fantastic.
It's about your message. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
Okay,
makes a
cool.
lot of sense.
You gonna do that?
Of course.
All right, good. I like that.
Thank you.
So, very good.
I got more out of this than I could have possibly imagined.
I've met some really fantastic people.
I've met so many like-minded people and authentic people.
The people that are here are absolutely exciting.
The information and the quality of the people here are extraordinary. They're like a magnet that attracts caring people who want to make a difference in the world.
If you come up and ask me if my program for authors is a good program, I'm going to tell you it's a great program. So don't ask me. Go ask them. Ask them if it was worth their investment. I'm betting they're going to say yes.
Your life comes first, and the business is an extension of your life.
Make Market Launch made a huge difference in my life.
It will be a life-changing event for you.
Honestly, one of the best decisions that I've ever made. Sorry, it's very emotional for me because they've really changed my life.
Mike's Gadget giveaway.
Wow, another Mike's Gadget giveaway.
Man.
All set for that?
Yes, I'm excited for this. We've had a little discussion about this device ongoing here in the office.
It is, and it is the mating charger. But here's what it is.
I'm calling it the Thang. It's called the Thing charger, but I'm calling it the Thang charger.
Oh, yeah.
It just changes the meaning just a little
It
bit.
It does. Here's what it is. One of the biggest things that's a giant pain in the butt is having good USB charging cables, but also a place to charge your devices. And what this is, it is a wall socket accessory. I'll turn to this camera here. And with it, what you're able to do is it's got little adapter plugs. One of them is a lightning connector here, for example, so you can put your iPad or your iPhone on top of it, like so. It also has an adapter, I'll show you on the back, that gives you a USB. And let me turn this around here. So you can pull out the little tip and then pull out another one here, plug it in. And that way you can connect your Android device, for example. Really cool. Now you also have two 2-amp USB plugs, so you can of course plug in your other gadgeterias, right, like so. And that's nice, but they also have surge protectors built in too. Now it'll take a little while to unplug it, but are you going to try to get it?
Well, because we had a little debate here about. Actually, I wouldn't even call it a debate.
Well, I'll tell you what it is.
It was a bet.
Yeah, you said that you saw the chargers getting stacked on each other.
I said that you could put a Thang charger into a Thang charger.
Yeah, which
and
you can.
And you actually can do that.
Yes, you can.
And I believe I won a bottle of wine on that.
Yeah, again, I'm going to say you got the bottle of wine, but it's not exactly accurate according to me, but that's okay.
We disagreed what Thang charger on top of Thang charger actually meant. Right?
You're right. Okay, I got it. But here's what's important is, so if you stack them, now you can put like your iPad on one, You can put your Android device or your your phone on here
Your
and
Roomba.
get 4 times as many 4 times as many USB ports. But this is the doodad we're giving away this week on Mike's Gadget Giveaway.
How do you get one of those given to you by us?
All right, so first of all, just to learn more about the Thing Charger, you can head on over to mrbz.com/thing.
Yeah.
All right, that'll send you over so you can pick one of these things up because they're super affordable, great to travel with. I bring it to the hotel now because
It's
again,
so cool.
It's great. But the other thing that I will say is we're giving one away, and that'll include a lightning tip adapter as well. So to do that, just go to mrbz.com/show or text MK Show to 58885, and you'll be automatically entered for this and
Every
all
other
of our Mike's
giveaway.
Gadget giveaways as well.
So you could get something really cool, which would be awesome.
You can. So that is the Thing Charger. Again, you can learn more at mrbz.com/thing or enter to win one at MK Show. Text MK Show to 58885 or visit mrbz.com/show. There you go.
Blind, deaf, and dumb tastings.
Mr. Ed Rush, you know
Welcome
what time
back.
it is?
It's my favorite part of the show. This is called Blind, Deaf, and Dumb Tastings. By the way, just so you know, there is a convention in the wine world called Blind Tastings, and so we had one of our good friends say she thought
we were
should
being insensitive.
rename it, and just so you know, this is a blind tasting. In other words, we're not going to see what we're tasting, and the dumb guys.
Two
You're
dumb white
looking at
guys
them.
drinking
Yeah,
stuff and
right
guessing
here.
what it is.
So,
so if you've never seen this segment before, what this is I pick something for Ed.
Yes.
You pick something for me.
We have to guess what it is.
And we also have one that our producer Chris chose for us, and we have to guess what that is. So, are you ready to start pouring?
Yeah, and you got about 30 seconds to get in the ballpark. Let's
All right.
just say that. Okay.
And so our goal is to make it fun for you as well. So, do you want to pour for me first,
yeah,
or I
go
pour
ahead
for you?
and get blindfolded. I'm going to show you
All
the
right.
camera.
Okay.
What I've chosen for Mr. Mike.
I'm wearing my kitty cat here.
This is. You can see exactly what this is right here.
All right,
Some
I know
of
you
you
made
have
some big deal out of this.
experienced All right, and so, oh gosh, this doesn't even barely open anymore. It's so vintage. Ooh, the bubbles. All right, go for it.
Okay, where is this
sorry,
right?
I should just give
Is
it
this
to you.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is skanky beer. No doubt about that.
You're
Okay.
like, oh, you're really close. It's like really, really warm.
Ugh. Oh, that is like unbelievably. Yeah. It's light. It's like warm Bud Light or
I'll
something
give you
like
a hint.
that. All right.
Support my campaign.
Support my campaign. Oh, it's Budweiser. It's Bud Light.
Nope.
It's just Budweiser?
How about this? Hello, my name is Billy Ron, and welcome to my Indiegogo host site.
Yeah.
It's the beer that Billy Ron drank.
Oh,
man! You can take it off. This is actually 2-week-old. So this is 2-week-old Pabst Blue Ribbon that's been sitting open like this in my office.
This, you know what it reminds me of? Is
like
when we were teenagers and someone left a keg in the back of a pickup truck in 100-degree weather for like a month, and we still drank it.
The real story, I forgot to get something for the show, and I was like 20 minutes ago. I'm like, oh dang, and I went in and it was just sitting there. So
You're a
you
cruel,
don't have to drink
you're
any
a
of that.
cruel bastard.
All right, so I'm gonna
this
put
is
my.
horrible.
It's really
all
bad.
right.
It's inedible or whatever.
Okay, here we go. This is for you.
Oh man, this is payback.
All right, here it is. We did that. Oh, next time we got to remember that someone needs to puncture the hole.
Break the seal.
Here we go.
Okay, I hear some glugging.
There you go. Put that in. Put that in here.
Right.
Do.
Interesting. Ooh, is that the grape juice?
Nope.
Is it Manischewitz?
No.
Oh. Is it alcoholic? That's not an alcoholic drink, right?
No.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. They added something to it to make it taste definitely different.
Well, it's like it's definitely it tastes like grape juice. Apple juice?
Nope. All right. I'll tell you what it is.
Give me a hint.
All right. So it's something made from a plant that's real squishy, and you put it on cuts and stuff like that. All right.
Wow, thank you for the ridiculously
It's like this goopy
ambiguous hint
stuff,
that
and
no one can guess.
it's called aloe vera.
Oh, really?
It's aloe vera juice, but the thing is,
how was I supposed to guess aloe vera juice?
well, it's cherry flavored, so it really added a little curveball. I didn't know that at the time. I had an assistant run out and get it,
That's
and
really
it has
good.
parajuice concentrate, so it's actually not the pure
I feel
stuff.
like my whole insides are.
Aren't they just purified and cleansed and just so nice now?
And also, it's like they're immune to the sun.
Okay.
All right.
Well, our
so-
next segment is or
gonna
our
have-
next taste
yeah, so
test. We're
let's
gonna have
both-
one of our beautiful assistants coming out here. Oh yes.
No, she's our executive.
I know.
assistant
I'm
producer.
just saying.
All right.
Our assistant producer.
All
Here's
right,
the thing.
Annie.
I've gotten jabbed through our surveys, and by the way, no matter what you think, I want to know what you think. So you can go to mrbz.com/survey. Tell us what you think of the show, please. All right. Who is our assistant who's going to pour for us? Who is it?
Annie.
I don't.
Oh, really? That's her laugh. Okay, gotcha.
Hello.
This last one is always chosen by our producer, Chris.
Yes.
Which I thought the first week was great. He gave us like a nice bottle of wine, and last week was beet juice.
Okay, just a moment here.
So-
Oh, that was horrible too. Yeah, I'm gonna smell.
Is there one down here someplace?
Ooh, okay.
Is this mine? Okay.
I know that smell. Oy.
That's ridiculous. I can't. I don't even have a place to start. Do you?
No, I don't.
I'm horrible at this game. Annie, can you help us
Oh,
out?
I know what it is. It's apple cider vinegar.
Is it really? Gosh, man, you're good at this. So we've got.
But it's unfiltered. You know,
Wow,
the funny
well,
thing
thank
is if I would drink it because I wanted the health benefits, I would have just drank it and it'd be okay.
Would've been okay.
I have a very high threshold of pain for drinking icky things. That's one thing that going through cancer treatment does for you. Your
Yeah.
tolerance goes out the roof.
Oh, there's just icky things going in both ways.
But what it reminded me of, it actually triggered a childhood experience when I was a little kid where I think I must have drank some sort of spoiled stuff and I thought it was going to be great juice and I was like, "Wah!"
For you.
All right, so that's vinegar for you.
The blindfold did something for your hair too, by the way. So anyway, all right, that's the Mike Koenigs show.
That's it.
Make sure that you say hello to us. Where do we want to?
Oh, and you know what else you want to do right now as we start rolling the credits for you is make sure you click the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. That would be wonderful. The next thing is make sure you subscribe to the podcast. And the reason why, because we do extended interviews
That's right.
with our guests.
So the interviews you heard today actually come out in a longer format that you get more
That's right.
information and more strategy.
I went deep with Pat Flynn about how to promote, how he actually promoted his books. You'll learn more about that, but you've got to subscribe to the podcast to get that extended interview. And we've got some other really nice goodies too. What are you smiling at?
Because I'm just cheers, cheers.
All
Oh,
right,
wait,
yeah.
Get the beer. Where's the beer?
No,
Here, you
I
can have the
don't know
beer.
which one that- I'm not going to do that again.
All right, I'll have the beer.
All right.
You can have the vinegar.
So, and also make sure you subscribe to the next Mike's Gadget giveaway as well. We've you can go to just text MK Show to 58885, or to get notifications and more information, visit www.mrbz.com/show. So Ed Rush,
See you next
one
week.
more time, very successful show. Thank
Good
you,
job,
my
man.
friend.
Thanks. See you next week.
Thank you.
Oh, my wrist.
Hey, this is Mike, and we're at the point in the video where you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that way you'll get notified every single time one of our new videos or shows is live. Also, when you subscribe to our podcast at mrbz.com/podcast, you're going to get long format interviews that I do that are a little more in depth than you may find in the show, and some other bonus content too. And finally, head on over to mrbz.com/show. Register there. You can apply for hot seats, a chance to win free gadgets at Mike's Gadget giveaway, and an opportunity to actually appear on the show as well. All that information is at mrbz.com/show. Thanks for subscribing.